Welcome. Today, I want to talk about, I believe, what to me has been the worst trend of the last decade, easily, and that is quiet luxury. Wow. When I hear those two words put together, there is a switch in my brain that clicks off, and I'm just like, everything else after those two words, to me, it's fingernails on a chalkboard. That's how bad it is. It aggravates every sinew in my body, every fiber of my being, every brain cell in my brain is screaming for end and respite from the nonsense that is quiet luxury. Now, the reason why this trend annoys me so much is because I believe I have been a witness and I've had a front seat to a lot of the trends that have transpired over the last 10 years, some of which have been quite bad. I'll give you examples. Do you remember the Fila shoes? The sneakers that everybody wore with the jagged edges? They were made by Fila. They were absolutely horrific. They were the worst trainers in the world, but everyone wore them. They reminded me of acupuncture. It's a shoe brand. I don't think that many of you would be old enough to remember what acupuncture is, but acupuncture was this, at the time, super trendy, super cool shoe brand. I was probably 13, 14 at the time. We're talking 1998, maybe 99. I asked my mom, I begged my mom to get me a pair of acupuncture shoes. Obviously, she said no. My mother raised me not to follow trends. And so that was the beginning of that education. So they reminded me of acupuncture. And it just made me laugh how things just are cyclical, they come back around. What else did I not like? The mob wife aesthetic. I understood where they were going with it. I understood where it came from. I am a massive, massive fan of Casino, Scarface, Goodfellas, Donnie Brasco, all of these movies. I reveled in them. I lived off of them. I know a lot about cartels and narcos and all this stuff. I understood it. The mob wife aesthetic, I got it. I knew where it was coming from and what it was supposed to represent, what that woman was trying to show the world. I got it. I understood it. Didn't really like it very much, but at least I understood it. The Hermes Chypre, the sandal that you've seen 95 million people wearing. Hermes could not possibly have made that many of those shoes. They can't possibly have made them. So my viewpoint on those sandals is, if you have those sandals and you don't own at least three other items from Hermes, it could be a wallet, for goodness sake, it could be a scarf. If you don't own three other items, then my goodness golly gosh, you are a sheep. That's all you are. You might as well line up in a paddock, let me shorn the wool off of your back and turn it into a jumper, because darling, you're when you're saying ba 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 black sheep. That's what you're gonna do. That's what you are. You're a sheep. Hermes at this point has become Ed Hardy to me. I'm gonna be honest with you, which is a shame, because when I grew up, Hermes stood for something. It stood for a certain aspirational brand that you only wore or you had items from if you had worked hard, or you came from a certain kind of money. And now it's just really not that. And that's the reason why quiet luxury irked me so much. It irked me so much because I didn't understand it. In the name are two words: quiet and luxury. So why is this thing that you are perpetuating to me, that you are propagating, supposed to be quiet, but everyone around me is draped and covered in it and is saying it and it's singing from the rooftops? I understand there was supposed to be an antithesis or a kickback from the maximalism trend that we had a couple of years before that. But by very definition, if it's supposed to be quiet, why is it so loud? Why are the loudest people wearing it? You have this gentleman who commits major crimes, is wanted by Interpol, nefarious activities, racketeering, money laundering, distribution of narcotics across land and sea. But wait, he's wearing Laura Piana head to toe. He's got the Laura Piana airwalks on. He's got the Chypres, the Kelly Depeche. Okay, he must be a good guy. Excuse me? Sorry? Have we mistaken? Is there a miscommunication here? Are we lost in translation? I thought this was quiet luxury. There is nothing quiet about it. 92% of the people, and that's me being nice, 92% of the people that you see who are dressed in this quiet luxury, be it Laura Piana, Xenia, Hermes, there is nothing quiet about them. They're either moving narcotics across land and sea, showing body parts on a platform online, or are crypto bros who hit a lick and made a couple of $1 million, and all of a sudden they've gone from the lad who was in some down, out of caste, completely forgotten city somewhere in east of Europe, and all of a sudden now he's clean, now he's accepted. And look, I've got nothing against, absolutely nothing against people who need to do what they need to do to make a living. Man's got to do what man does for man's salary. It goes for women too. I have nothing against it. I'm not judging. Do whatever you got to do. But please, for the love of God, let us not package all these people in certain clothes from certain brands and all of a sudden we call it quiet luxury. There's nothing quiet about it. If the guy who's covered in tattoos from the neck all the way down to his ankles, sleeves down to his arms, is dressed head to toe in Laura Piana, it doesn't therefore mean that he's safe. It doesn't make any sense. That guy is wanted by Interpol. I don't care if he's wearing Laura Piana or Xenia or Hermes. There's nothing quiet about him. He is the loudest person in the world. Or you want to tell me, yeah, I don't like too much logos these days. You know what I mean? I just keep it calm, keep it chill, keep it low key, Yeah, Hermes, Laura Piana only, Xenia only. And then you go outside and there's a bright yellow Lamborghini Urus waiting for you. Ah, okay. I understood. I got you. Yeah. Makes total sense. So you see, these things, the reason why these things bothered me so much is because a lot of brands jumped on this bandwagon, and the people who are jumping on this bandwagon by these brands do not understand that this is something that they have cooked up somewhere in an ivory tower. The people who now have the disposable income, who are they? They either made their money online, they either made their money from nefarious activities, they either made their money from crypto. How do we get them to spend money? Let's make them feel like if they wear our clothes, they all of a sudden become legit. You know what? I got it. Quiet luxury is the money laundering of fashion. That's what it is. You want to clean up your act? You want to make yourself look presentable? Make polite society accept you? Whether it is that you're showing your body on the internet or you're selling drugs, it doesn't matter. Wear this, make it clean, make it simple, and we got you. Now, this thing said one thing to me. It explained and it highlighted to me how easy it is for these brands to put out these notions and these concepts and ideas to try and corral the consumer into believing that they want to be part of a certain sect. Because there is nothing wrong with doing, yes, there are things wrong with doing those things, but my point is, if you're doing what you have to do to make money, look, I might not agree with it, but I understand it. And when I was young, my understanding of quiet luxury, when I track back to my younger years, was there was a kid in my class. I'm not gonna say his name, obviously, but I went to school thanks to my parents for their hard work and talent and foresight. They sent me to a fancy British boarding school. And so I was surrounded by people who would wear trousers that were hovering above their ankles, and they would squint at the wall at the board because they couldn't see because they didn't have glasses and their parents wouldn't get them a prescription. But at the same time, in their house was a Francis Bacon or a Turner or or a Picasso, and you're thinking to yourself, wait, so you're not broke? Your parents aren't poor, because coming from Africa, my understanding was if your clothes don't fit you and if you're squinting to see the board because you don't have glasses, well, you must be poor. Now, I'm not condoning the actions of these people, not at all. All I'm saying is, growing up around this sect showed me what true quiet luxury is. Because I would see people wearing airwalks that were absolutely beaten. They were beaten and worn, like those memes of white people you see wearing Air Force Ones at concerts, and the Air Force One looks like it's no longer an Air Force One. It's just a Force -10. You know what I mean? Dead, white, beaten, laces chewed up by their dog. That's how the airwalks looked. That's how the clothes from Loro Piana looked. The jackets from Barber, the hunting rifles, everything looked better worn in. And you would see a kid who is sitting down having a meal at McDonald's and doesn't want to go to Knightsbridge to have a fancy Chinese. And meanwhile, his father is heir to the Mercedes-Benz fortune. Or another girl is asking me for 50p to put into the machine so she can get a can of Coke because her tuck shop money for the month has finished. Meanwhile, her father owns Cathay Pacific. Or there is another kid over here who is wondering why his laces on his shoes wouldn't stop falling apart because they're being held together by a string, and instead of buying new ones, he's gonna wait for another couple of months because when he can see his father and ask his father for some money to get some, then he'll get some. Meanwhile, they own a Formula One team. Again, I'm not condoning this kind of behavior. All I'm saying is, then I didn't even know what I was looking at. I didn't understand what I was seeing. I was 13 or 14 and I'm looking at these brands, looking at these people, and I didn't get it. I'll be the first to admit, it was all new to me. Later on, as I got older, as I got more exposed to this world, I realized, that's how the rich do it. That's the definition of something that is truly quiet. By definition, it should not speak. It shouldn't be loud. If it's quiet, then why am I hearing it all over the place? Why is everyone head to toe in it, thinking that they're quite luxury? Just because you wear Hermes, Loro Piana, or Zegna doesn't automatically make you legit. I'm sorry. I don't make the rules. I only enforce them, my guy. So, what does this mean when we can try to translate this concept into a world of starting a brand? It is, if you're going to start a brand and you're going to start a product and you're going to use a trend that is now to push it forward, just bear in mind that one day it's going to finish. And if that thing finishes and you have built your city or you've built your brand on the bricks of a trend, it will fall the moment the trend falls. That's not to say that you shouldn't use ideas and history and movements in people's tastes to build what you want to build. By all means, do that. Just be aware and take note that when the time comes for that thing to be over, because I don't see those feelers anymore. I don't see the mob wife anymore, the hot girl summer. Sometimes I do see that, but my point is, those things are gone now. So where are all those brands that built their ethos on those movements. Gone with the wind. So, as always, I'm just here to enforce the rules. I don't make them. Don't fall for the trend. If you're going to start something, you're going to do something, find something real to base it on, so you don't end up scrambling when the time comes to find something else or a new trend to replace it. Because like my mother used to say to me, the trends are a cycle. They'll keep coming back. They'll just keep coming back. Ed Hardy was a thing once upon a time. Nokia phones were a thing once upon a time. Where is Ed Hardy? Where is Nokia now? Gone with the wind. Thank you so much, and I see you next time. Peace and love.